Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the next short story in this book that I have not reviewed for you. It's called The Circle Curse. It's 14 pages long. It's a short story. It's written by Fritz Leiber. So we're doing a deep dive into this novel. I reviewed a few short stories in this collection a while ago, and in a series 5 of them to be exact. The previous one is a novella, Ill Met in Lankhmar, which I reviewed for you folks a few years ago, back when I was not going back and reading things that I already read once a while ago. I have stopped doing that more recently over the last few years. So if I want to review something that I haven't read in a while, that I've only read the one time a while ago, I'll actually go back and reread it before, so I'll be fresh, and I can come to it with a fresh sort of an understanding of what I think about it in today's modern day, right? But that's not how I was at the beginning. So now we're going to be doing a review of the next short story in this collection. Now the first half, this collection that I'll link you to in the comments below, published by Borelius Legends, has two halves, if you will, that are sort of previously published. The first one has two novellas and a short story that's really long, and took me like an hour for me to read. So it took me, I divided it up into 5 days. Each of those days was longer than an hour, except for the short story that was an hour roughly. So it was a pretty long read. Now the next collection, if you will, has 11 short stories in it, so it's much faster, if you will. So this short story was very quick. I knocked it out in like 25 minutes in a 13-page short story for you folks, The Circle Curse. So anyway, Gray Mouser and Fafhrd are a heavily published and heavily popular guy with a lot of the Thieves Guild stuff, that the interactions and so forth, and what a Thieves Guild looks like, and our two key thieves, the Gray Mouser and Fafhrd, and their abilities and what they have. They were clearly very influential on modern fantasy. You cannot read a modern fantasy work that has a large city like Lankhmar, that's huge and has clearly impacted modern cities. Their sheeniness and their thieves guilds and the thieves characters and such that are having things or video games or other media like comics without actually having this be an impact, right? Because this is the first appearance of a lot of those things. So this is where that stuff happened. So that's one of the reasons why this stuff is really important for modern day context. It was very influential on Dungeons and Dragons. And in fact, in the first edition of the Dungeon Master's Guide in 1979, Gary Gygax lists in Appendix N the most influential people and how he got his ideas for things and where they came from. It's sort of like a reference list, as well as a place to go to for your own explorations and to find ideas for your campaigns. So it's also a place to go to for, ideas, right? So this is not only something that you can clearly see the influence of this series on modern history, but you also have a chance to see this too in Dungeons and Dragons too, and in gaming. It's through that. All modern fantasy has been influenced by Dungeons and Dragons. So it's important to understand that. So this is also a key thing there too. Fritz Leiber wrote the first story ever in his career in this series, 1939's Two Sought Adventure, which I've done a review for. It was my first review of anything by him. It's republished in this as Jewels in the Forest, which is the next short story in there, and it's more than 40 pages long, and so it'll probably take me about an hour and a half for me to read. Hopefully I'll knock it out tonight, although it's possible I might divide it into nights because of how long it is. I have already reviewed it for you. It's been changed to the Jewels in the Forest again for you folks, so I've already reviewed it for you. Now this so he's very influential. This guy has published a lot of fantasy and science fiction and horror, and he's won a lot of Hugos. He's one of the most award-winning Hugos writers of all time. He's just hugely awarded for things. He also has won Stoker's for his horror stuff too, which are those key awards in that category. So he's a heavily awarded author. He's written novels, short stories, novellas, and a lot of different things. He died in 1992, and he published things before he died in the 90s. In the early 90s. So he has published subsequently in every decade, starting in 1939 through 1992. He was a protege of H.P. Lovecraft, who died in 1937 and died before he saw his things get published. And he would edit his short stories that he would send to him in his letters. And two corresponded frequently near the end of Lovecraft's life and at the beginning of Lieber's. So that's pretty cool too. It's an FYI for you folks. So now let's take a look at the Circle Curse. As a reminder, I keep my reviews spoiler free. So what do I think about it? I actually don't like it that much, going back and rereading it. Why not? Because it's not a short story. It's a chapter in a book. What the previous book, Ill-Met at Lankhmar, is a novella. It leaves things in a very dark place at the end. And the next short story, Two Shot Adventure, being republished as Jewels in the Forest here in this collection, is set after some things have happened and things have changed in the Gray Mouser and Fafhrd's life. So what the Circle Curse is, it's basically a 13-page chapter in a novel. It takes you from the end of one book, and then gets you to the beginning of another book. But it doesn't have like a conclusion, for example, right? There's no plot, there's no conclusion. It's just a description of what happens in their journey, right? So I can't call it a short story in that sense, right? And so it's hard to review because it's just a chapter in a book. It reads like connective tissue that connects two parts of a body rather than an actual organ in itself, right? So I don't like it that much as a short story. It's fine. It's perfectly read. It's perfectly written, correct, and so forth. But it doesn't have like an ending or a conclusion or something like that satisfies you. So I wouldn't recommend that you read this out of order in this collection. And just read it as the next chapter in a book and then move on, right? But it's fine as a chapter in a book. It's just that's what it feels like. So I'm only giving this a 6 out of 10 because of that. It's not my favorite thing in the book that I've ever read for you folks. So there you are. That's my thought on the Circle Curse. It takes you, and as a reminder, my reviews are spoiler free, in the first couple of minutes from the end of the sad things that happen, to spoilers again, at the end of the first thing, and it leaves you in a very dark place. And then you'll find out early on that 3 years are going to pass. They meet some major characters that are going to become major characters in their lives, and then they move on. And they return to Lankhmar. The big city. That's the name of the region that they live into. And that's it. It just changes their seats from seat A to seat B. It's more like an intermission, right, than it is where people change the seats on the theater stages and they change the props and stuff like that than it is an actual proper short story separate from that. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. That is my review of the Circle Curse. As a reminder, the chapter of this name, the name of this channel for you is The Worst Thing About New Books. It's a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert. It said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. This is definitely an older works, and works that were published from 39 to 92, right? And then also I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So I want to take a moment to thank you so much for watching your time and investing it. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, what did you think about it? Have you read it? If so, let me know. Did you agree or disagree with my 6 out of 10? If so, let's talk about it in the comments below. Once again, I'll try to link you to this in the comments below so that way you'll have a chance to check it out on Amazon. Have a great day.